morning, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. As always, muchas gracias to everyone for everyone's words, wishes, prayers, as the love and support everyone shares and sends my way. From the heart, I thank each and every one of you. Also, do please like, share, subscribe, and hype to this video to help support the message. Gracias. Well, everyone, getting right into what I want to speak on today. Today is going to circle around Arnie from Frogtown and a camarada from Tunerville, and more so on the question that I've been asked lately a lot, right? And it's basically to speak on times where a camarada played out of pocket, a pili, right? And he basically got over on him. So this is a story in that sense of things. Not to the fullest, really, but it's in that angle, right? But anyways, I want to take you back. I forgot the year, 2011, 12, somewhere in between them years, right? I was up in the bay, and up there in the bay, there was a camarada from Tunerville, the homie boxer. He had been up there for a couple years. He actually got busted in the United Neighborhoods that Arnie had, right, with Frogtown and Tunerville and Rascals. He's trying to get them all together and function as one, right? Which he did so to some extent, but that's a different story, right? On this one, again, there was few camaradas that got busted. You guys know how law works, right? And everybody speaking, so eventually it would hit the fence, right? And a lot of homies they ended up catching a lot of time. I guess one of Arnie Arnie, whatever, however you want to call him, strongest mouthpiece on the streets was Boxer. You know, I'm assuming so more towards his neighborhood, right, which is Turnerville. And anyways, he would end up getting caught in the sweep, and he went through his process. However, he would end up getting validated from the gate. He's busted for doing things straight. Took for appealing. He just got found guilty. There ain't really much the squad has to do to get him validated, and he would end up there with us. As he's up there, and ever since of the word, whenever you ran across him or whatever, had palabras with him, he was a cool individual. You know, Boxer and Bouncer was also up there that from Frogtown that was helping out a lot, right? They were the Billy's mouthpieces on the streets per se, like that. For this peace tree specifically, right? And you guys know what carries you being the mouthpiece of a senor. Anyways, while they're up there, I guess things start changing in the sense that from being at peace at one point, it's just there started being infighting, which is common sense, regardless how much you obey the rules and regulations or you respect the higher ups. At the end of the day, it's game banging. You know, if it ain't you, the next generation or the peewees that are gonna come out in bad terms in regards to something gets said that is just should not be said. You guys get it. And I guess it started fighting with each other again, and Arnie didn't like it, you know, because he was losing Feria. Let's just keep it a buck. That type of mentality it's only one way, one type. I always say, when a lot of people get mad, I refer to it as the gato mentality, but that's exactly what it is. Again, people that don't know, they assume Tecato to be a dolphin, and I got no hairs in my tongue. If I want to refer to someone as dolphin, I'll straight up say it, you know. But anyways, by having this conflict, it was taking feria from him. Overall, that's what he cared about. So he started stressing, like, hey, talk to your homies. He kept telling Boxer, talk to your homies from Twinerville. And it just became to a point that the homie Boxer, he got fed up. I don't know if it was just the shoe living part got to him, or he just really didn't like what was going on, and he felt he needed to speak for his neighborhood. But, you know, in one of them talk to your homies type of things that Boxer told, excuse me, everyone, Bouncer told Boxer that Arnold, or Arnie, excuse me, wanted to ask him to talk to his homies. He turned around and say, hey, why is every time something happens, it's always Tunerville in the wrong? And it's always you and him getting on me to talk to my homies. Have you guys ever sat down with your homies from Frogtown? Because I guess this current issue was a party, and in that party, people were drunk, people were high, and things were said, excuse me, and they ended up starting getting down, and in that midst, there were shot fires. Somebody got fired, and yeah, he was from Frogtown, and basically, Arnie's answer came quick, which is you ain't gonna talk to your homies, okay? Everyone involved from your neighborhood that was in that party when they hit LA County Jail, they have an automatically a verde, a luz verde, you know, and see how far they take it, because you're here because something, and now you're sidestepping. And Boxer told Bouncer, I know I keep going, it's confusing the name, sorry, but Bouncer was from Frogtown and told him like, hey, it's just, you guys are just pressing on my homies. I did my homework and everything got started by so and so from Frogtown and it escalated, yes. You know, someone got shot. Unfortunately, he was from your end, but your end started everything. Now, the reason you're getting at me at this, keep in mind, this is trauma pills, right? Is you're basically threatening me to go after my homies for something they have not done. And I guess Boxer and Bouncer knew each other real good. They could speak to each other like that, but Bouncer didn't have that buffer zone, trying to finesse things and rewrite them correctly to have them not come out disrespectful. It's one thing me and a camarada we got along and issues uprise and we could talk directly with each other, whatever's in the mind. And it's also knowing your place too, right? You can't do that with a Billy. Because for one, believe you just can't do it. I had a few Billys that were my cellies, and as cool as they are, it could go from being cool, getting along, cotorreando, to all of a sudden they're upset and it's your butt on the line over nothing. It's just simple palabras. And anyways, Bouncer would hear Boxer out and would address Arnie in that same palabras. To not make it long, basically Arnie said, you know what? They're gonna pull me out to court. They're gonna pull you out to court, and me and you will meet out there. Boxer and himself, right? Bouncer's gonna stay behind, and we'll talk down there. What I want is things to stay the same. What he wanted was the Fetty and the dope coming in. He didn't want to lose that. Just think about it. At one point, yeah, Arnie's receiving everything coming in from Frogtown. But when he's doing this Unity trip, now it triple. Just straight off the back, it just triples on what's coming in. He did not want to lose. And you can rest assured he was going to go after whoever he felt was digging in his pocket. Keep in mind, by this time, again, boxers have been up there for a couple years. And Boxer, he said, Simon, it'll be a pleasure, to get back online and seeing if we could make it work again. Have them also pull me out, you know, and we'll meet down there and we'll basically get it going again. Hopefully, we'll have that angle to call directly and set things up right, under punishment. I know it sounds, I don't know, weird, right? Coming from a straight man and referring to, I'm gonna apply punishment to other grown men game banging, but it is what it is, and time will come. They will pull Arnie and a few other individuals, right? But they had their own things to go deal with down there, and they will pull Boxer out, and they would end up going down there, and yeah, they squared things off. They talked, and they squared things off in order to make truce. Arnie had Boxer's homies go pick up some feria, no dope, nothing like that, just feria, straight money, and we're talking about real feria, not like thousands, it was up there. And when they picked up the feria, they asked Boxer where to deliver it to. They did, and next yard, Boxer just didn't come out no more. He didn't come out. He quit answering his own homeboys, and he wrote an appeal to Arnie and basically told him, and that's a famous Wheeler, because Avato had not really gotten like that out of Billy. He should have came out in person and told him. That's what he should have done as a as a man, right? Nevertheless, he told him straight out, look, I've been playing you like a ballerina for, you know, over a year now. Everything that's been coming in that you saying it just don't square it off. Ever because I'm burning you. I was burning you. Them conflicts. You were telling me one thing, I was telling my homeboys a different thing. And at the end, he just told him, I just want to let you know this, and at the same time, tell you, F you, you're burned. Everything in this past year or so that you think you were clipping my neighborhood, I'm clipping you for all three neighborhoods. Boxer was collecting not only from Tunerville, but from Rascals and Frogtown. And he took all that fatty out. Just imagine how much fatty he took from them. Just a year alone, you know, just on taxes alone. But they were doing the thing, they were moving material. And the vato would end up locking it up and just walking off. Me personally, I think that's a Winnie's way to do things, right? Again, they were able to come out to the same yard, full shooter came out suited and booted with a strap and just boogied. He had that much hate. He should have just done that. And at the end, telling man, you burn. But he took that road, I want to end on this note. This situation happened where a camarada burned a pili, right? Per se. Because what is Bosser going to really do with that feria? Don't know where he sent it to. Don't know who was holding it. But he caught live for Army. He was doing live just for canteen. But I understand he was tired, of just being up there and hearing them and having everything always flipped around on him in his neighborhood, and it gets old. I guess you would say that's a definition of someone manning up, saying enough is enough, but to me, it isn't. You know, manning up, well, that goes exactly in the words it's saying, right? Coming out and manning up. But then again, different minds, right? But I thought I would share this with you. This was a time that, sorry, I can't give you exact numbers. It was, it was heard by almost everybody. The Pillies had it in their mouth for a while. If you were real cool with the Pilly, you had a conversation with them about this. Of course, everything, away from Arnie, because there was a sore nerve there, right? But that's basically one of the stories, where a camarada would end up clipping him and going south, going Winnie. But he did take everything with him. And most importantly, he laughed in his face. Just think about it. He came out to yard. He still played the part. He still haven't did something. And he sat on that too. And then said that might be laughing at him. And what can they do? More than anything, what are they going to do? Again, that wasn't the way because, well, Boxer could have came out and bucked up. If you knew Boxer, he could have hurt Arnie for reals. But anyways, the end look on this one is exactly that. That you don't know who's who. What I mean, you could be on the streets paying your respect to one of your camaradas so that he pays that respect up. And prison changes people. That one person inside that's your camarada that you're doing everything for, shooting things up so that your neighborhood's name reaches up, and he's sitting on your feria. So the end look is that don't trust nobody. The one thing prison does to everyone is everyone learns how to be a snake. You know, you might have not been one when you went in, but if you're maintaining in that world, it's because you picked it up along the way. With the said, please stay true to yourself, loyal to loved ones. Again, I probably won't be able to speak to you guys for a while. You know, I was actually reading the paper, and I don't know what they're gonna do tomorrow. We're supposed to do transfusion, but then in the doctor's orders is I have water in my right lung, my gallbladder, my liver swollen, my vessel, whatever that is swollen, and man, I say to say, it'd probably be more than a couple of days, but it's God's timing, right? Please always stay blessed.